Hi, I'm Elena. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a sort of recommendation video. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while, but it's quite a challenging video to make. What I wanted to do is the kind of video where you say if you like this, you might like this. But of course, I wanted to give it a little bit of a twist and I wanted to say if you like this contemporary novel, you may like this classic. So you can use this video as a tool to get into classics if you read a lot of contemporary. Maybe these recommendations will help you. At least I hope so. I have 7 recommendations for you because I think if you want to get into classics, then that's quite enough. If you read classics and you want to read more contemporary, then feel free to switch this around. And if you find a book that you think you will like, then please let me know. I have tried to find a couple of very well-known and popular contemporaries so that it is easy for you to kind of guess what you can expect from the classic. The first contemporary I want to show you is Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. If you like this, I think you might like The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Armin. Like Girl, Woman, Other, The Enchanted April is about different women who all get their own perspective, who all have their unique feelings, who all have their unique experiences, and not all of their characteristics are very likable. They are just real. That was one of the things I enjoyed most about Girl, Woman, Other, and it's also one of the things I enjoyed most in The Enchanted April. I think this was definitely a 5-star for me. This isn't necessarily, but I know a lot of people love this a lot. For me, it was just a bit of a 3-star. I know that for a lot of people this is one of their favorite books, and if you really liked the way that the different women and people were portrayed in Girl, Woman, Other, then I think you will also be able to find that in The Enchanted April. The Enchanted April is about 4 women who go together on a holiday to Italy. They don't know each other, but they want to go on a holiday without their husbands, without people around them, and they all come from not very different but kind of different places. Definitely has the same kind of take on people's lives. Another very popular contemporary is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I would say Sally Rooney in general, but Normal People is the only one I've read, so it's the only one I'm going to mention. If you liked Sally Rooney's Normal People, I think you might also like Virginia Woolf as an author. I'm going to recommend Mrs. Dalloway because I think if you're new to Virginia Woolf, this is definitely the place to start. It's not necessarily Virginia Woolf's easiest novel, but it is the shortest and the most straightforward. Mrs. Dalloway takes place during one day and Mrs. Dalloway is throwing an event. She's throwing a party and we follow the perspectives of a lot of different people who come to that party. Just like Normal People, this really is a description of how people used to live in a certain class in a certain period of time, and it grabs all these different elements and shows you how that has an effect on all different people. I think that is one of the strongest things I found in Normal People, is that there are so many aspects of life, very different effects on different people, and also have a big effect on a relationship. And that is, I mean, I love this book way more, but I think that is the essence of Mrs. Dalloway, is how everyone has an individual life, but how it is also all interwoven, and of course all of these people meet at this party eventually. And I just think if you kind of like the slightly experimental writing of Normal People, if you kind of were able to get along with that, and if you really liked all those different elements, then I think you can also get along with Mrs. Dalloway. Another very popular novel is The Death of Vivek Oji by Akweki Emezi. If you like this one, then I think you will enjoy Half Lifelong Romance by Eileen Chang. What these books have in common is that it's really about relationships and about family and about friendships and how that can be both amazing but also devastating. This book made me cry. This book made me cry, and the basis of both books are in the relationships and the family dynamics between other people. Within that, in the core of these books, is an individual with a personal development. In this book we have of course Vivek. In this book we have Manzan. This is set in 1930s Shanghai, and we meet Manzan and her family who are in some way disgraced. I will not give you too much context on that, but Manzan needs to work in a factory to keep her family financially stable, and a lot of things happen after that. The center of this story is a romance, just like in this one, but the most important core of this story is the personal development of the main character. This was my favorite book of last year. If you like the Bridgerton series or any historical romance, I'm going to mention the Bridgerton series because I've read a few of those. I would recommend Persuasion by Jane Austen. Of course, it is no surprise to recommend a Jane Austen if you like Bridgerton, but Jane Austen has also written a lot, and I think of all of her novels, Persuasion is the most fast-paced and the most engaging, with some tiny plot twist. It is both Jane Austen's shortest novel and I think most fast-paced and engaging, and it has all these fun and witty elements. For some points in this novel I was on the top of my seat, which is not something I'm used to with Jane Austen. With Jane Austen I'm used to having just a great time, kind of know what's going to happen, but Persuasion is a bit different. So I think if you really like the very engaging historical romance like Bridgerton, which I quite like them, they're not perfect but they're fun, I would recommend that you read Persuasion by Jane Austen. If you liked Freshwater by Akwege Emeze, I would recommend that you read The Color Purple by Alice Walker. Both of these books have a certain level of just going beyond borders. I think if you've read Freshwater, I'm sure you know what I mean. But The Color Purple is written in quite an original way. It's really written in the voice of the main character, who lives in quite an abusive setting. One of the main themes in both of these books are looking for heritage and looking for sexuality. Both of these books are queer and both of these books play with boundaries, which I feel like some readers appreciate that, other readers don't really get along with that. So if you got along with it in Freshwater, I'm pretty sure you will get along with it in The Color Purple. Talking about slightly strange books, if you liked Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, I think you should give the Master Margarita a try. This may be a bit of an odd pairing, but the reading experiences of these books were quite similar to me. Okay, the Master Margarita is 10 times as difficult as Piranesi, I will not lie, but there is the same sense of mystery and the same sense of very silent characters, I would say. Characters who are very existing in their world and we don't really know what they're doing in their world. And I think if you really appreciated that in Piranesi, which I really did, then I think you will appreciate it as well in the Master and Margarita. And the last two books I want to recommend, I think this may slightly be cheating because I know that the contemporary author was really inspired by the other author. If you like The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, I think you will enjoy Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. These are both dystopian. There are more fantasy and sci-fi elements in The Fifth Season than there are in Parable of the Sower. This is set in a world that is purely dystopian, but that is a bit more, it's set in our time now by the way, it is set in 2027. This is a bit more an exploration of what could actually happen to our world in the future. So in just a few decades in the future from when this was written, where our main character lives in this dystopian world where just everything is really, really dangerous and people are very poor, very hungry. I think the one real fantasy element of this book is that the main character has hyper empathy, so she can feel everything that other people feel that are within her eyesight. And of course the main characters in this book also have some sort of magical ability. So these books definitely have some similarities. I enjoyed both of them immensely. So those are the 7 classics that I would recommend if you like the contemporary novels. If you have a pairing of a contemporary novel and a classic that you should read, either if you enjoyed the classic or if you enjoyed the contemporary, please let me know. I would love to know which contemporary and classic novels you think make a great pairing. And for now, I want to thank you so much for watching this video and I hope that you have a lovely, lovely day or evening. Doei!